it has been heavy on my heart to discuss domestic violence as it relates to our young community, in lieu of some things that have come up recently. The one common denominator that all of us have is that we are connected to it in some type of way. We've either experienced it, we've started an organization, we have a cause in regards to domestic violence and wanting to bring more awareness to it. It's heavy on my heart for us to address it with our youth, because with everything that's going on in the world, if we're not tackling this issue right here, this becomes a generational curse.
Yep.
It becomes acceptance. We then in turn receive more deaths, more beatings, more children, being killed out of wedlock, youth relationships, all of these types of other things.
Right.
And I am wanting to charge all the youth churches, youth leaders, everything. Instead of everybody focusing right now on same-sex marriages and things like that, if we go back to the roots of training up our children, regardless of what path we have taken in the past, this is a completely new generation. This is a no-holds-barred generation.
Yep.
But if we start addressing teaching our young men to be young men and loving God first and courting and dating first and not trying to rush into sex, and our girls not accepting that sex makes us acceptable in relationships, then we don't have to worry about our young people gathering these emotions that are keeping them in bondage in relationships that are not healthy for them. Am I correct?
Right.
So what I want us to address and kind of push out there is the first charge is for all youth leaders and preachers and whatever your role is as a youth at your church, is to start a rep session dialogue now. Divide the room up, boys and girls, those that are truly virgins, those that are dating, and those that are having sex, and have 3 different conversations, because you've got the virgins being pressured to date, then from being pressured to date to being pressured to have sex. And those are the emotions that they're not old enough to even deal with at that point.
Right.
So the other issue is, now we need to deal with the issue of those parents that were missing in the home, which is giving these children the reason why they should be accepting these unhealthy relationships.
Right.
These unhealthy relationships are just a void to replace that missing factor in the home.
Right.
So if you didn't have a dad, you think if you saw your mom's boyfriend beating her up, you think that's acceptable.
Or the dad.
Exactly. So we need to address.
Vice versa, him or she beating him up.
Exactly, because there are situations where the men are actually the ones being abused. So those are the issues I think we need to be addressing with our youth. These kids are getting ready to go back to school, and these issues are going to spread. They're gonna spread.
Yeah,
so I want us to just kind of address and create some dialogue with the public as to why we think these things are acceptable, or that we feel that things are acceptable, and let's point out some telltale signs, because somebody that's hearing this is gonna know somebody that's in this situation. They were in the situation. They're going through the situation, coming out of the situation, either or. The point is, it needs to stop at some point. Okay? Mm-hmm. And as it deals to this same-sex marriage thing, you got issues where a child has watched a mother be beat, and she's decided, I'm never going to have a man if that's how he's going to treat me. So she's drawn to another woman who has the same emotions that she has, or feels like this woman knows how to touch her the way she likes to be touched because they are the same sex. And because she's trying to avoid the relationship of a man and a woman. Because not only can he abuse her externally, he can abuse her internally with his body parts.
Yeah, right. True.
Okay? So if we get to the root of that, we can stamp out a whole lot of these upcoming issues. So, Crystal, I want to ask you, I know you started an organization where you're basically addressing domestic violence, sexual assault. Kind of give us a reason why, or whatever, some things that you're trying to convey to audiences that attend your events.
I guess the big picture of is first making it aware in the community.
Correct.
Let's talk about it. Let's be open about what's going on. Let's make it very informative about what I'm going to talk about, which is sexual assault and with domestic violence, sexual violence. Yes. But I mean, just basically like being open about it and letting the community know, but having the events, having it in a fun way.
Correct.
To basically lure people in to talk about this serious business need to be taken care of.
Okay.
And so, you know, with that being said, it happens, you know, in, you know, Black community, in the white community, Hispanic community.
Yes.
And it's basically swept underneath the rug.
Yes.
You know, some uncles, you know, getting their niece pregnant or dads getting their stepdaughters pregnant or, you know, hiding the baby or saying the baby's not there.
Correct.
Or, you know, saying, you know, that's to say that's your sister.
Correct. So you're trying to create comfortable environments so that you gain a person's trust so we can talk about it. You're trying to create dialogue, and that's a great thing, because that's what I mean by when I say separate, because if your child is in a situation, or the person that you know is in that situation, these are people I'm around all the time. They know about the abuse. So of course I can't cry out help or cry wolf to them, because they're suppressing the issue too.
Right.
But if I get somewhere over here with somebody who's more comfortable, that I feel like I can pour into, then I can release this demon, basically. You know, that's following me, or that I'm having to live in, especially if I'm a minor. I'm having to deal with this as acceptable behavior because you're my uncle, like you said, or you're my dad, or maybe I've been threatened that I'm gonna hurt your mom, or this, that, and other, whatever.
Right.
And because I'm a child, I'm taught to respect my elders, not to go against what they say. But you're allowed to abuse me and violate my body. That's not acceptable ever. It's not acceptable ever. With you, Mavelle, I got to attend your coup de grace. Oh my God, and I thought it was so awesome. And I hate that I didn't have an opportunity to participate in it. But the way you took what we do as hairstylists and to unfold that fantasy world, but to depict the story, your story, of the abuse that you faced or whatever, what's the main focus that you're wanting to get out there? Because I know now for you, this is an ongoing thing, and you've gotten backup and support and this, that, and other, whatever, for your cause. So tell us, what's the message that you're trying to offer based on your experience and what you're trying to convey to the audience that comes to your coup de grace events?
Well, I wanted to expose the different types of the way domestic violence come about, like the signs. Like if he pushed you too hard and y'all thought y'all was playing, that's a sign.
Correct.
If he talks to you, you know, differently in public than he does in private, that's domestic violence. So if he changes character in certain things, as far as being too jealous, being too controlling, want to manage all your money, want to make sure that he pinpoints where you are every day, call you, make you feel like he's checking in on you, but really
love you so
trying to make sure you are at work. But he played it, hey, how are you doing? I'm just checking up on you. You're so beautiful. Where are you? Oh, you at work? Oh, okay. That means he done.
Back in about 10 more minutes.
That sounds like something I use, that there's a difference in concern and control.
Yep. So those are my things, because it got me. And if it got me and I think I'm a G, I know it'll get many of people, because I thought I was together and could nobody break me down. Nobody could do me like I done seen other people go through until it become you. And when it become you, it's a total different story. You find more excuses to give people than buttholes. So I just want to make sure that we expose it, because when you expose it and put it in people's face and they see themselves as ugly as they truly are, then they might can revert back or retract back to become a better person and a better citizen into somebody else. Because even though he whooped on me, he had, I did not do the research on him, so therefore he had 3 other domestic violence before me. So if I'd have did my research first, I could have had something to tell me, no, don't do this one. Because that means he has a problem. And then get married again, and now she's an ex-wife, because he done got her even after me. And talk to me, and I explain it to her, letting her know, girl, don't you do it. Why you think we not together? And you do it anyway. Now you see, now But see, we as women have to stick together too, and men have to stick together too.
Yeah.
Because if you see me going through it, why should you turn around and take the same man that I just had
Yeah.
and went through
And
that?
it's like warning before destruction.
Yeah.
You just with us talking about your situation earlier, briefly, without telling the story, kind of tell us or tell the people what was the reason that was keeping you there.
Well, like I said, I'm a G. So I like the money. I like the fact that he was dependable. He paid bills. He did everything that I felt. He wasn't a procrastinator. If it was something that we needed to take care of, he took care of business. And I liked that in a man, to take care of me. I was secure, but I didn't know that I was secure living in fear. So it's a big problem when you secure, but you living in fear, but you got stuff, but you can't really show nobody what you got because you scared he gonna get jealous and your butt gonna get whooped when you get back home. Just things that you go through.
It's amazing. It's
Things that you accept.
So you were staying because you felt like you were being taken care of and that nobody else was going to be doing what he was doing for you. Wow.
That
But there was physical violence in your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you just happened to be one of the ones that wasn't just accepting the abuse, but because you were, like you said, a G, you were strong enough to stand toe to toe, but
Yeah.
that still was a level of violence
it's
because
still- yep.
it's not acceptable. It wasn't a healthy relationship.
Because
Wow.
I felt like I'm a fighter. I used to fight all the time. I can handle him.
So you accepted that that's acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where what was going on behind closed doors, he was bringing it out in the public.
Mhm.
So then he was embarrassing you with the
Yep.
shame and abusing you publicly.
Yeah.
So of course, if somebody will do that, they really have no more respect for
They
you
don't
at
have
all.
respect.
Wow.
And then you build
He
up
feared no
hatred.
one.
Then within yourself, you build up hatred. You start hating the person that you see every day. And that hate that you have for them takes away from you.
Yeah.
I started looking like an old lady. Did you see my picture that I put on Facebook?
Yeah.
Before and after, I looked like my oldest sister looked way better than that.
Stress.
She older than me.
Stress.
But the hate that I had towards him and his mother,
Yeah.
it just overwhelmed me to where I was killing myself.
Because you said that his mother knew about his abusive relationship,
And she said,
and it's almost as if she was
I don't know
supporting it.
what you want me to do about
Wow. Wow.
That's probably all
That's
she knew.
interesting. That's going to help a lot of people
Yep.
look into their current situation and what is truly acceptable in a relationship. Nobody wants to be in a relationship that bad that you'll let somebody put their hands on
it.
you.
No
like
money, no cars.
Wow.
Your life is way more important than
Wow. Wow.
Amen.
Miss Antoinette, this is your daughter Crystal, and this is an effort that you guys have teamed up to do. You guys even have an event coming up.
Right.
You have a company and an event coming up that is addressing domestic violence, and you've added an additional cost to it. Give us your take on the message that you want to convey, and a telltale sign or something that you want to give to the people, and something to look for.
Well, the great thing about causes when you're having events is that sometimes, it's hard for a person to admit that they're going through that because it's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be your child or your mother or your son or whatever, and they're going through all this stuff. But say for instance, if it's like I told you so situation, well, they don't really want to say, dang, they told me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in that situation. Well, events like this, it brings awareness. People talk about certain things, and then there are causes out there that you can contact by email, or they have websites that you can contact, and you don't have to use your identity, and they have help all
You
over
can be
the
anonymous,
national.
right?
So this brings that kind of awareness.
That's it.
And sometimes people feel better. They have like a 1-800 number that they can call, or they can just go to the website and find a local chapter that can help them get out of the situation.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So that's what our events do. This is one of the causes that we're doing on July the 18th.
That's great.
So
Can I tag in on that one?
yes.
Go ahead.
And if you don't have a place to stay and you need to run away, go to Buckner Homes. They will help.
They will help.
They have
Right.
a domestic
That's
violence.
some good information.
And this one is basically, it is tied into domestic violence, but also sexual assault awareness, because that happens also in quote unquote family and friends. So we you know, there's families that go through that and they're afraid to talk about it because there's a parents that say, oh, that didn't happen to you. You know, there's so many people that go through those type of situations, and we just don't know. Then you also have situations in families where it's just a generational curse. This is what happened to that person. Yeah. So I'm thinking that this is probably what happened to your ex-husband's mother.
Learned behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
She probably just didn't know. Yeah. Because this is probably what he saw her go through. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, it could be that. It's probably what he saw her go through. So when you asked her that question and she's like, what you want me to do? She didn't know. Wow. She didn't know because that's probably what she dealt with. And that's sometimes what happens. So when you bring in awareness and causes, it does help, you know, the community. Yeah. And that's any race, any religion. And, you know, I think, like you said, the community and churches and business owners, we do need to.
We're dropping the ball on the main issue at hand. Because if we don't handle that, this is the generation that's supposed to lead us when we're on the porch.
Right. And like, and then I think just like there's so many signs. You know, you just have to listen. Like sometimes people give you signs and you're not listening. Yes. You're too busy. You know,
your focus is completely gone.
She's this or that. You know, you have to look at everything.
Yes.
And you know, my thing is, you know, a lot of times people haven't built themselves up. Mm-hmm. So they have no self-esteem and they're not working on their life. So when you want a relationship and you're chasing these relationships and then you get this person and you're building like, oh my God, I got him or I have her, and really it's like you haven't even dated this person long enough. You're just existing. Yeah. And life is bigger than that. And I do know that God has a purpose for everyone. Mm-hmm. And my thing is people don't, you know, I always bring everything back to Christ. Mm-hmm. So you tap into Christ first because that person is not Jesus. Mm-hmm. So my thing is when you're tapping into God, he will lead you in any situation that you're in. Mm-hmm. But he's also placed all these different awareness and causes and charities to help you get out of the situation. Because sometimes, you know, as young adults or even older people, they go through domestic violence because they get lonely. And they'll deal with they'll deal with anybody just because they want to feel the love. And a lot of times it's just like, I think the big thing in this world is like love. Everybody wants to be loved. So if they feel like there's a void in their life, this is their void. But what they don't understand, that void is Jesus.
Yeah. So everything.
He's your everything. So this void is not that person. So don't, you know, they feel like they got to take this. So, and I do think it does start out with, you know, the relationships start good, but they do show these, they may fly off the handle at times, or
temper tantrums,
or they don't even, and then some of them don't even do temper tantrums, they'll go a different way, like you said. They'll keep calling over and over every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes, or if you're not doing what they want you to do. I've seen people go through that, and a lot of people just stick with that. And if they don't do what the person wants to do, they'll just. And I've seen people lose themselves. They're not even who they are. Because this person literally broke them down. They'll build that person up, but they'll broke down. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's my thing. It's just like a big void, and sometimes a lot of it, I think, is like a lot of generation, and people don't deal with it. So when you don't deal with it, it's gonna just keep going.
It's one of those conversations that we don't have to, and we need to, because it's almost like when you come home from school and your mom say, "Hey, how was your day? You know, tell me what happened." It's another whatever. We are so technologically controlled to the focus is, and we're all guilty of that. We don't all sit down at the table and eat together anymore. This and other. I used to go through my baby's bag, her room, everything, because everything from the front door to the back door belonged to me. I'm checking everything. But we don't do that anymore. We don't create that dialogue and find out what's going on, who's bullying you, or what's, you know, all of that stuff. Those kids are even bringing those situations into school that are dealing with stuff at home. And they're reacting with children that they have at school. But I love the fact that at your organization, at your events, you're basically allowing those individuals that do come into contact with you guys, that are there, that may be seeking help, they have an opportunity to get some help and get some information and get some direction.
We have information
that night. Exactly.
We'll have pamphlets out and stuff like that, and just kind of, you can take with you.
Correct, and that's great, We're going to continue this conversation later and do more of these. So rest assured, each of us, you'll be able to get in contact with us, and I'm going to have each person give their Facebook information or whatever later. So if anybody is having questions, you can inbox, that's all anonymous, well, it's between you and that person, but those that may be seeking help or whatever can get that help, because this is not just a one-time conversation. Miss Lori, do you have any input on this situation as it relates to domestic violence, far as the steps that, even in a parenting situation, because I'm taking myself out of the equation, because with my comments or whatever, but from a parenting perspective, as to how to address something that you're maybe seeing with your child or whatever, because we know that kids take things that we give to them, oh, that's just mama or whatever, they don't listen.
Right.
But sometimes you hear from somebody else and you may be quick to listen to it, so what are just a couple of things that you'd like to put out there for some parents that may be dealing with this type of situation and don't know how to address it?
I don't have kids. I can't speak from a parental perspective.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've been a child before, as we all have. So I've seen, something in my household that I didn't particularly like with my mom.
Okay.
And immediately you come to the defense of your mama.
Correct.
It's just like you would come to the defense of your child.
Exactly.
And seeing something like that growing up, you automatically don't want to have nothing to do with nothing like that. So I have prided myself on not being that type of woman.
Yeah.
And I have oftentimes, even in that regard, I have become the perpetrator because I have created such a tough mentality. So I was in a relationship, one of the two that I've ever had. The first one, he was a victim of domestic violence in his household, and I was just violent. So I said we busted heads all the time,
Yeah.
But that's definitely not what I would want for my lifestyle. So I had to and I was 19 years old, so young, stupid, dumb.
Something about that number 19.
Yes, it was horrible. And then even looking back on it, something like that right now, it's like, why would I even put myself through that? I'm 34 right now, so I'm looking back at myself on my 19-year-old self like, damn, I was a perpetrator of domestic violence, and I was a victim of domestic violence. But I couldn't even, like Mavelle said, I couldn't even see myself being a victim because I have a tough exterior.
I was gonna say,
you're
not covering it up.
You're not gonna whoop me.
Strong.
We whooping each other. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and my mom even came over there at one point, and she was like, because she already know how I am. She looking at him like, what did she do? You know what I'm saying? So I have to look at myself a lot of times. And I think that for the most part, I would want the world in America especially to treat domestic violence for perpetrators and for victims as a mental problem.
Yes.
A lot.
It is because you create a completely different mental state.
A lot of times you can't rehab somebody who is mentally disturbed by putting them in jail.
Right.
And we have taken jail to a whole nother level. You put people in jail for anything, but if you were able to maybe rehab those people in another way with mental health professionals, maybe some of that,
because they need to see where the fault was. Because
exactly.
what you said, that gelling them, gelling them will make the situation worse. Because now you put that problem in a box and it's ready to explode. Right. But you need to at least first know that you were wrong, because you don't even know that you were wrong, or that you were a victim, like you said, or whatever the case may be. You just felt that behavior was correct.
Right, and that's because the awareness, people don't talk about it. So, say for instance, at that age of 19, with people, if you were getting like what's out now, you would have known.
Yeah.
Like, because
we were raised in certain homes that you don't talk about what go on in here, out there. What go on in here don't go on out there.
Right. You keep it quiet.
You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what our mom and them was taught. But then even granny them before, there was so many situations where the uncles was the ones raping the this and the that and so on and so forth. And so you didn't discuss it. And so now what that is because this parent now may have to deal with the demons that they dealt with, and like she said, now you're being exposed. But as a parent, if you're seeing that, so because you said your mom dealt with that and then your mom saw that in you with your situation, what was your mom's take on it? What was her advice? What was her help to you seeing you go through that, but did she come to you in a point where she understood what you were going through because you learned that from what you saw her go through?
I only saw my mama have the one episode, and I protected her. And when I did that, she came to my defense because she's like, "Oh my God, this is my baby. I don't want her to see stuff like this. What's going on with that?" So when she, umpteen years later, when I had my own episode, she was just like, "Oh my God, you don't need to be doing stuff like this." Because I actually went to jail for a whole different reason, but I actually went to jail. So for the 45 minutes I was in jail, when I got out of jail, my mom was like, "Baby, you don't have to go through this."
Right.
I don't know. She didn't understand why I was even like that.
But I don't to her, you were a completely different child.
Right. My issues didn't necessarily stem from the episode I witnessed with her. My issues were deeper than that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I had to. But
once they're all connecting together, these are all different types of abuse, whether they be mental abuse or physical abuse, or whatever. They're all different types of abuse. And that's my thing, is that this is what we need to address. If you got a boyfriend and you're with somebody and he's telling you, you don't go to the store till I tell you, he's channeling in your mind that he has control over you. So he's taking away your mental ability to function on your own, that you can't even think for your own self. And in the flip side of that, you're not seeing that maybe, this dude's got something going on because he can't fathom seeing you do what he's doing to you. And you feel like you can't do better or that you're not better. So he's basically taking your value and your worth from you. Everything around you is devaluing you. And that's why I said the church has to be the meat of everything with us, because even with blacks, and we're not making this a racial thing, but with black people, the church is really the middle, the core to our families, then Madill, and so on and so forth like that. And so if we can't create that dialogue, the things we do best is dance together, eat together,
and worship together.
You see what I'm saying? So if we can't come together in those circles and create a dialogue so we can help heal our children. Tyler Perry and a bunch of people have put movies out and things like that, and Lynn Whitfield or whatever, I guess that's pay me my money, send me my check.
Right.
But she was addressing an issue in there where the mom was being forced by the man she was with, or the husband, whatever he was, to dress her baby up and sell her. She was selling her because that was her way of life. He was her lifeline, her support. She was willing to do anything for it. But she was not thinking that you're destroying your child at the same time.
Because
and now this bingo. And now this child has unhealthy adult relationships because of what she saw. And either she decided to go a different direction, or she's going to teach her children the same thing. And this is where the buck stops. This is a conversation that we all must have, you guys. Boys and girls. Because we've got some girls that are out here that are heavily aggressive.
That's right.
Twerk Nation and radios and TVs are basically teaching our children what is actually devaluing them. So they don't value what should be being taught and what we should be handling at the spiritual level.
One thing that I look at, like you got the talk show hosts and you got all these other shows that are degrading women, and they're bringing them up. The ones that fight all the time.
And they're not necessarily degrading the women. The women are allowing themselves to be degraded. So they've got some underlying issues.
There was a situation to where I saw one of the talk show hosts last night, and they showed a picture of Sierra and the new boyfriend.
Yes.
Well, she spoke negative about it. Because
because they're trying to stay abstinent.
That's right.
Yeah, she spoke negative.
She said, and I told Chris, I said, this makes me mad because the world is already so negative.
Yes.
And she was like, they've both been okay. So
it doesn't matter. But guess what?
At this
God
point,
is always a forgiving God.
Amen.
And all of us, whether we are in Christ or not, we were all once sinners. We were all born sinners. Period. Point blank. But you're supposed to live daily to put away those things.
So my thing is like you got society and TV, that's it looks like it's channeling all these people to do all this
playing into the negativity.
So you have all the women that's fighting each other on the shows. And you got
They're
all the
doing
guys
that for ratings, so you be grading yourself for ratings.
But these people don't realize that all this stuff ain't really
it's all rehearsed and
right.
Yes.
But they're living like that. They think this is the way you're supposed to do. Everybody in hip hop rap.
But don't you think that's a situation where they're seeking attention? they're seeking attention for a reason, because it's all still something underlying. My thing is, I applaud what Sierra and her boyfriend are doing at this day and time, for the simple fact that they're basically trying to show people that, you know what, if we can stand to be each other, and I got some friends here that come into the salon that say they're in situations where they have to like you 365 days before they decide to date you. And I kind of like that concept. I'm not saying 365 days, but if I can still like you and begin to love you and I haven't physically touched you, then we can have anything together. Because a lot of times physical clouds your judgment on a lot of things, especially if you're already not strong enough to handle physical intimacy. So if we can get through day-to-day situations just learning each other and loving each other and sharing and caring for one another without physically, sexually connecting, then you got something. And so because we have had sex before and we have been there, and because we know that wasn't God's plan, that wasn't the map, you know what I'm saying? But when we step out of that, the things that we experience, that's our consequences for the situation. So if we can start over and say, you know what, let's kind of go a different route. And if at the end of all of this we still together, we're stronger than nails. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can do and accomplish anything.
We
can accomplish anything. But the point is that I learned to love you and I learned to respect you. You know what I'm saying? And we give it back, because love should not hurt.
Right.
It shouldn't hurt.
Like that.
You know what I'm saying? The only love that hurt was the love that Christ experienced when he was his suffering, that we'll never know the cost of that. We'll never know the cost of that. So I just want us to be mindful, for those of you that hear this, that watch this. Crystal, give us your Facebook page information.
Yes, I'm Crystal Manning, and on my Instagram and Twitter is Leap of Faith 55. So it's LEAP Faith FAITH number 55. So Leap of Faith 55 on Twitter and Instagram.
Right. Maybe your Facebook page.
Mavelle T. Hanson. That's right. And then it's Mavelle TH on Instagram.
Great.
Yeah.
And then I just want to send out my website, and that's www.inthespiritcompetition.com. And we just have our webpage. We just post news every day, information. We'll have information on any of the sexual awareness information.
And that's called InTheSpiritCompetition.com.
InTheSpiritCompetition.com.
Right. If you want to give yours, you can. If you don't want to,
I don't.
okay, that's good. And my name is Jimmy Sanders, of course. And that's not an issue at all. My Facebook page personal is Jimmy LaVon Sanders. And my other call is Bold, Bald, and Beautiful. And the salon is Hair by Jimmy. My Instagram is also Hair by Jimmy. We appreciate you guys just listening.